Yeah.
So I think last time was with the mushroom actually, and this time I feel we will talk about man and woman.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
in certain aspects.
Yeah. Typical manly, typical female aspects of society, the world, our own experiences, perhaps. So yeah, this episode will be about typical manly woman stuff, back and forth. What is manly for you, for instance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good question. The manly behavior. Well, for starters, I think that there actually is a manly and a female and a male sort of behavior. Many people argue that this is just the cultural stuff that you can change easily, but I wouldn't agree. I think what we see today in society is because feminism is very strong. That the norm for how to behave in society is more and more being the female way.
Ah, yeah.
So everything that has to do with manliness is considered bad, or at least
interesting. Yeah.
Not useful. And that would be things like maybe competition is not regarded very positively, and to strive for something with a single mind. That's some sort of examples, and also in school, I think when the children go to school, they are encouraged to be more like everybody should be like girls, sort of. And you shouldn't compete, and you shouldn't try to make your mark. And I think that it's not good for the boys, because they have to suppress their inner truth somehow. I mean, also you have to say that it's always generalizations, and for sure, if some boys are more like girls, and that's okay as well, of course. But speaking generally, I think there is manliness.
Yeah, yeah. Or you mean like a more what is like a typical generalizational thing for female behavior? Perhaps if you see that in guys, that's obviously okay. But if they are prone to be more like that today, I think that is a quite like a development since years and years back. I think because of the new like female aspects of the world has been growing stronger lately, I feel. And they influence many instances of society today. And what is typical manly, in my personal case, would be that I don't per se have that preference to go to. I can't differentiate what is typical manly for me or what is typical female for me, because like partly I have not had that male or father role in life. Perhaps I only grew up with women in my family.
Sure.
So a grandmother, mother, and 3 little sisters. So in my case, it's been quite challenging, I would say, because if like subconsciously within me, if that male aspect of life have trying to come forth, it's been quite silenced fast.
Oh yeah. Sort of met the resistance from your family members.
Yeah, of course. Like a stamp of stupidity, a stamp of now you think too quickly, perhaps now you overreact, perhaps now you're just this and that, I've been like, let's say, like sometimes I've been belittled, like they make like, let's say, great things for me become very small in their eyes.
I see. Yeah, they don't appreciate
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
important for you.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly, exactly. So it's been a rough time, but I've noticed more lately that it's only a matter of fact that the more male aspect of me is trying to balance all that female inspiration I've gotten in life.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, so that's a little bit of my backstory.
yeah,
Uh,
interesting. And that makes me think about something I heard about being a man. There's a book by Susan Faludi. She wrote about that it's becoming more and more difficult for men to live in the modern Western world. And like in biology, it's actually true that there is always a struggle to be a man, because you might know that a woman would have an 2X chromosome,
mm,
XX, and a man will have a XY chromosome.
mm.
And so pure biology, that the daughter and the mother, there's no struggle between them. Like I don't remember exactly the point, but since the man is different,
Yeah.
uh, from just from perfectly from the beginning, there is a struggle to distinguish himself from the mother, and to
Oh,
become
interesting.
something else.
Ah.
And the daughter, she can just exist and be nurtured, but the boy has to always fight to become the other, the different.
Ah. Yeah, that makes sense in my case as well.
Yeah, it made me think
Yeah.
about when you told your story. About,
Yep, definitely, because I've been struggling and trying to fight my way through, trying to get my points across. For five women at a time, like at the same time,
yeah,
and
that's
that's
tough.
extremely tough, I would say. Yeah, but I'm extremely happy because I've gotten all that kind of female teachings of life,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
I know their ways. I know their like the kind of now I differentiate like them and us. It's not like that in my case. In my heart, it's more a we kind of feeling that I have.
Sure.
But in this case, when I talk about struggle, there, there are two polarities of the case, and in this case, it's me, the only guy in the family, and five other women, and that's a struggle, of course. So, yeah, the point was that if I'm trying to get my points across, I was belittled, and it was so hard for them to listen to my ideas, my points of views. So I noticed that I tried to find friends that I connect with and other people, both men and women actually, who share my points of view more likely,
Right.
and that really helped me to let's say, as you said, to differentiate myself from that side. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Would it be both men and women who you made friends with?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure, because I think it's very useful for a boy to grow up with some sort of male role model, and for me as well, my parents separated when I was quite young, so
Yeah.
I have more female influence than male, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What usually happens is that if guys like us then have that sort of a male um, side in life that we're searching for, that we lack, so to speak. It's very very hard for us as well, since we go back to that side with female influences in life,
Mm-hmm.
and we constantly notice that there's something that we have to differentiate. There's something that's not quite right here. We are amongst all these women, and we're listening to their ideas, we're understanding their points of views, etc. But there's something within me, usually from time to time, that speaks to me that no, there's something else here that I had to find, and I have to like put my views across as well to them to listen to, like or listen to me, I would say, because it's so hard sometimes when I try to explain myself. In this case, because I always get shut down, you know.
Are you talking about some sort of that you don't get a? They listen. You listen to them, but they will not listen to your.
Yeah,
Your
exactly. Yeah,
opinions.
and I think that's
Yeah.
the why you were talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
The XX coexist somehow in parallel, like perfect harmony somehow.
Mm.
But when the Y comes in and try to like break the cycle
Mm-hmm.
almost, or create a new cycle, perhaps.
Sure.
It always
It breaks the harmony, basically.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's if we speak about energy wise, I think it's a huge difference in play that we're not quite understanding here, but has a very large effect on many different scales. So
Well, that made me think about something else I heard about. Let's see now. Like, yeah, the way women interact is from what I understand, that they are very interested in not having disagreements, basically, or like they are very interested in maintaining a sort of agreement, and that the feeling is positive among them, right? You shouldn't start a fight if you don't really have to. And the man would be more like speaking the truth is more important to them than to perhaps keeping a good mood.
yeah.
And that would be like you said there, with the Y coming in and creating a mess, some sort of imbalance in the good relations.
Yeah.
And I mean, both these things are important. So
yeah.
So you should encourage both, I think.
Yeah. In my personal experience, it's exactly what happened as well. Because in like when it comes to both, let's say bromance or like male friends, whatever, you know, it's more like we men feel at peace or in harmony that we don't agree, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's more like that.
Yeah.
Like we're fine with the struggle, or we're fine with 2 points of views, and that's okay. But if I notice I'm gonna take my own family for instance as an example. Like when females struggle, or they have different points of views.
When they are fighting.
When they are fighting, the XX, some of them must have a right, and the other one won't give up.
Right. So it's very black and white.
Sort
of thing.
It's a fight on a whole other level, especially with 5 women as well. so you have like the grandmother up top. Trying to silence the minors.
Yeah, she's still in power. Like,
she has like the kind of alpha female
points.
Matriarchy. Or in this case, it's been quite rough, you know, because then I'm on like the sideline, just observing and just like scratching my head, like, oh my god, what's happening here? Like they can't even like understand each other.
Right.
Like wow. So that struggle has been quite interesting to observe in my case, I feel.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like there's not much reason in those arguments, I suppose. It's more like you have to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a perfect kind of a shut down struggle. You have to silence the other woman in sort of like they try to prove each other wrong when they're both are right, or they both have different points of view.
Yeah,
but the other one,
right,
but the understanding is not there.
yeah. They didn't see it.
Yeah.
Whereas when men have an argument, they can agree to disagree often.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, or at least that's in my own like experience of things. I've not met guys who like I totally disagree with and I'm in disharmony with. So that's kind of interesting. But in this case, like when my family struggled a lot, I've been working as a mediator between the women and trying to explain their different points of views and like trying to help. No, she's only seeing this way, and she meant this way, and trying to help, solve the problems.
Does it work sometimes? Or?
Yeah. But sometimes I'm like getting shot down, and like stay out of this and like and yes, get the fuck out.
Okay, that's none of your business.
Yeah, exactly. So then there's as soon as the male counterpart part enters in a female only struggle per se, it's like then there's this shutdown again. Then the two exes start working together like somehow. Yeah. Like from nothingness into just pushing the male away, and then it's the female struggle again. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, I wouldn't go into a group of women fighting. I would.
Yeah.
Be very hesitant to.
Yeah.
Go in there.
Yeah. I'm just seeing like these like 5 mad pumas trying to scratch each other like. Rah!
Yeah.
Super crazy. Yeah.
I also think about like when let's see now. So the way the women would say things to you when they want something, and maybe they want to get something across to you, but they don't say it directly. They may be trying to say it in a indirect way, going about because they don't want to create a fight between you and her.
Yeah, it's more a passive communication.
A passive communication, that's very female for me, I feel, and the man would be more direct and just say it. And and in relationships, I see this over and over. Like
I can totally agree with that. Yeah. That's in my personal case as well. Sometimes when my grandmother wants something from me, or I notice her intention. I already know it, that okay, she wants something, but the direct communication doesn't come like in let's say like hours and hours or maybe days, 3 days before she even dare to ask me something.
Yeah, but you can pick up at once what she wants.
Yeah.
Because your personality is good at that.
Yeah.
Because for me, I have a hard time sometimes to.
Yeah, I can see.
Pick it up.
yeah, I can see people's intentions quite fast. Being an ENFP. Yeah, an ENFP male. That is. So, which is quite rare actually. It's more common that there are females in my personality type.
Oh, right.
So it's 2 to 1. Wow. Even. Yeah. So that's quite interesting how that works. But so often when I grew up, I've been more stamped with a female kind of like the boy with the female heart somehow, or the guy with the like female intentions, or
sure.
like
from your friends would say that.
Like yeah. Both friends and like even in relationships.
Sure, yeah.
It's more like from my personality type point of view that I also love harmony and people working together, and I don't per se like imbalance or disagreements either. But in my own case, I think that's it's been a quite of a interesting side of different polarities working. Being a Libra as well. It's we have 2 cutouts. Okay. Hej! Är det ingen fara?
Får jag låna ett hängglas utav dig?
Ja, ni ska ju bada, ja. Absolut.
Okej. Yep. Jag håller på att spela in lite radioprogram. det är ingen fara. Det är någonting som man kan klippa bara.
Hejdå.
Ja, ha det så kul.
Ja, samma.
Hej!
Hej.
Okay, back to it.
Yes.
So this is where we cut, for instance.
Yeah.
So we're back to it. And I was just going to talk about the different polarities of the male and female aspects in my life. So being a Libra, as I said earlier, ENFP male, and having grown up with only like women around me,
Yeah.
basically, it's been that case of becoming like almost the boy with the female heart somehow.
Right.
I feel. But still, I would say that that like kind of shadow aspect of the male is still searching within me, or I'm searching for that connection.
Right.
Which is interesting because like my father passed away early in life as well. So it's been, I never had that like male or father role there telling me all those things, like and like that knowledge is kind of shady or in shadows.
You have to search for it as an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
Feel, huh?
Yeah, so I had to become my own father aspect somehow, and my own parent in many cases.
Yeah.
And that's been fine too. But it's a necessity later in life that if you recognize this, like listening to this, and you're missing your mother or missing your father in life, I think it's very important for you to take up that, like, the unknown aspect of your inner sides, to really find out what it's all about, and like register those sides as well. Find that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's necessary. It's not easy, but it's necessary work to do. I suppose I'm in sort of a similar process as well, I guess.
Yeah. So trying to discovering those sides, and it's like, what happens when I become angry? What happens when I have something important to say? When I want people to listen, what do I do? Do I sit back and ignore? Do I play the female passive role that I perhaps shouldn't do? Of course, I should like go forward and say those things that is hard to say. Create that disharmony for a while. It's not gonna last forever.
No, it's
So it's temporary. So I think I noticed that lately, that it's more about taking a standpoint and being fine with that as well. And I've been practicing that lately, and it feels great when I do it. You know, even though it creates like somehow somehow I feel like, okay, I'm gonna get an enemy for life now, but it's not like that. You know.
No, it feels very scary, but it's not that bad. Actually.
It's more the female aspect in me overreacting, or it's overcharging compared to the male aspect of me. It's like when I've said something, like the male side of me, when I say something and what I mean something, and when I want people to listen, and just, let's say, put down a boundary, for instance, and then the whole female aspect of me is overcharging and overreacting. Oh, what happens if this person doesn't like that? And oh my god. It's just because I've gotten so many female influences in life, so it's hard to do the male aspect of life.
Sure, yeah.
So that's
sort
the
of
struggle.
A pattern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So usually I visualize different, like, two polarities of energies, with female energy and male energy. Yeah. And I've been running life with 90% female, I feel like, and 10% male.
I think that's very common, especially for us who have grown up with mostly women, and this is also in our society, I think, more and more common, that single mothers with their children. I think it would be I think actually I'm a bit a traditionalist. I think you should try to keep the nuclear family together if you can, because I think there's good value in it. So
Yeah.
of course, if it gets terrible and it doesn't work out, you have to split up. But
Yeah.
it's worth a good effort, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Since you both need both sides, I feel, of life, like the male and the female aspects,
Yeah.
and find that harmony and balance.
Yeah, I mean, it would be good for the children growing up to have a mother who is fully in her role and the father who is fully in his role. I suppose
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would be an ideal sort of setup.
Yeah. Yeah. However, I see that those sides are floating more likely these days.
Right. Yeah, it's not
because
so
it's
well
like-
defined. No.
Nah, definitely. Because like the female can definitely charge up a male kind of energy aspect, and the male can charge up a female energy, more passive and wait and sit back and relax, kind of energy as well, and that works great, but as long as those sides are acknowledged and seen from the male and the female, and they know why, I think that works just fine,
Yeah.
I think it's a natural kind of cycle.
But is that sort of like, of course it's perfectly fine for two women, for say, to raise a child, and
Of course,
and
yeah.
maybe one is more masculine and one is more feminine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but do you think is it a case of the sort of they're trying to be one or the other, or is it more like biology or?
That would be a bad example, if you ask me. If you're trying to mantle a role you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, who would do that? I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Would be too much work.
Yeah, because it's life is not meant to be that much of a struggle for a person in a relationship, I feel. Because like if you per se would enter a relationship, but it is needed for you to be the 100% female, for instance, like if the female energy, and you have
If it would be a homosexual relationship, and I would be the female.
Yeah, exactly.
Partner.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a good example. Like if you're not comfortable in that role per se, that would be a huge problem later on. Because as you said, like if those actions and things would take so much energy or effort all the time,
that would be more like a mental idea, like I have to be this in this way, but I'm not comfortable with, but I have to be, because otherwise I wouldn't be accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that would be a bad example, if you ask me. Yeah.
But well, we can say today that it's in our society it's quite easy, I suppose, if you are a man and feel more like a woman, you can live that out and act it out. It's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And but I think my question is, like, in the big in the full population, could you generally say that most men are masculine and most women are female, but the other ones are sort of deviations, but I don't know if you follow me there, but
of course I do follow you. It's just that I think it's statistical wise, I don't have like the information here, like when it comes to.
It's very hard to say.
What I feel like intuitively right now, just off the bat, it's just that I think the society, what we have today and have had later, or more like back in the days, those male and female definitions, I feel like those have been more set in stone back in the days, even though they weren't. Like, even though you had that male perhaps acting out on a 80% female energy, that male craved the male respect, for being this renowned warrior, perhaps, or a standpoint. But the other males perhaps knew that that was the most chicken pussy male of like the whole unit, you know.
Ah, yeah.
But he was their commander, you know. But he was a chicken, and he would give up easily. But amongst his male friends, he would act or taking this male warrior mask and play it well, you know. Even though he had more a female aspect of life, and maybe that balance of being that kind of a high female energy male amongst so many males
Yeah.
would be the differentiating factor for it to work as a commander in that role.
Yeah.
So there's so many like dimensions of it that I see clearly that even works today, since females and males around the world, they play different kind of roles, but in my personal case, it's not worth it to play a role that takes so much effort, so much energy, just to get like 1 day of work done.
Right.
For instance, I would never play that. Yeah.
So, what kind of role is it that you naturally fall into, and what would be the role that you would have to struggle in?
Yeah. So in my personal case, I would naturally fall into a mediator, a listener, initiator, inspirer in life.
That's what come naturally for you.
Yeah, naturally. I feel like that gives me energy, and it doesn't take much energy from me to do that. That's just like, I would say, the genuine side for me. Like, I would like to be this idea syringe to just put out ideas, different kind of dimensions and aspects, inspire project, inspire students, perhaps.
Sure, yeah.
My music students, perhaps. It's a great position, I feel.
You as a teacher, that's a good match.
Music teacher. I love music. You know, I love working with the kids and inspire them to grow in the music aspect of life. It's great. But the other role then is that when it comes to putting down boundaries, per se, or the more male aspect of life, is that I have to take on that sort of a like grown-up role, perhaps, or let's say the teacher role, and that's something that drains energy from me, because I'm not used to putting down that much of a boundary. I'm rather the inspirer or enthusiastic friend who helps another to grow. And
you don't feel like it's not so good for you when you have to say like, this is the way it is, and now you have to learn what I'm saying. Sort of.
Exactly. So a kind of a black-white scenario is really hard for me sometimes, and it drains a lot of energy. But I've noticed that something that takes a lot of energy from me in that, per se, like put down a boundary, now we're going to talk about this today, and that's it. If that takes, per se, like 80% of my energy to do that, and it's a really struggle, that kind of a moment or like hour, per se, can really help me later. Like if I do that. So sometimes if you put out extremely much energy in one case, it can actually come back to you and really help you as well. And I didn't notice that first. So first I felt like I lost energy, but then I actually gained from it as well. So
in your job at the school, you noticed that it was good for you actually to set the boundary that we're only gonna do this today. And you can't run around and do whatever you like.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Sure, I can see that. That's sort of you manifesting some sort of male energy, I would say. Like, that's how I read it. Like,
or at least try.
Sure. It's not easy, but at least an action is always influencing your psychology, I guess. Like,
Oh yeah.
Even if it's not successful, it's still
Yeah.
you made an effort, and that creates something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
And I think like the first times I really did that, and I failed like so many times with my students. It's like in the first times I got like only 5 perhaps that really understood and like really listened, you know, and then I had like to save the other 12. And trying to like scoop up and scavenge, like, and try to get it to work somehow with those people, but because they were only always questioning, you know,
Questioning your authority.
yeah, exactly,
Sure.
yeah, or trying to peak or
to mess with you somehow.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I'm curious, what about the gender parts in the class? Is it like a mix of boys and girls, obviously,
it's-
but
yeah.
50-50 maybe?
Yeah, in this school, it's a perfect example of 50-50. In especially in one class, because it's just as many girls as boys.
Right.
Yeah, and then we have one class that is more female, and one class that has more boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can notice a difference between these 3 classes for sure.
Interesting. What do you see?
If the male aspect becomes too dominant in one class, I notice that the females turn quiet more.
Right.
Yeah.
They so draw back or what
withdrawal.
you say?
Yeah.
Withdraw,
Yeah. Exactly. It's like the females start to observe more, and it's like the girls.
Sorry, that would be the female. That would be actually the girls. The girls
yeah,
and
yeah.
the
The
boys.
female aspect, like let's say the female energy here is within the girls right now, and they're starting to observing this overload of male energy within the class.
Yeah, the boys
like some people like let's say some boys start to quarrel or like fight each other, or like let's say questioning me, for instance. It's like the girls take some few steps back and observe the situation and look towards me, the teacher.
Yeah, do something.
And, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's like they search within me what I find acceptable, you know.
Right.
Is this acceptable? Is their behavior acceptable? Like acceptable right now? Like,
yeah.
Is this okay? Yeah, is this okay? So they wait for me to take that boundary, you know.
Sure.
Or set down that boundary. Yeah. So that's one thing that I noticed.
This is what the general opinion is. I feel like that the boys are making a mess in the classroom often, and the girls are suffering because of this.
Yeah.
And that's one reason that in the schools today we try to make the boys less boys and to be more like girls, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a good reason for it, I suppose, because the girls shouldn't have to suffer because of the boys.
Yeah, definitely. And I think most of the guys are not even aware.
No, they're just being boys, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is kind of a wrong way of saying it as well. Like, boys will be boys, you know, and it's time to acknowledge this. I feel like to
the
take
problem,
that.
you mean?
Yeah, exactly, and take and really listen to the female aspects of life, the female energy, and we both here who are really in tune with that female energy, we know we know what's going around here, we know what's happening, but most people don't, so it's a good thing that we like the males of life here, that we do listen, and that we do tell the other guys, like to chill and just take a step back, or like listen, you know, to the female aspect, you know. The struggle, you know, that happens is kind of a problem sometimes if the male can just domineer, you know.
The strongest man will always get his
exactly,
way.
and that's kind of a bad side as well, as we were talking about, like in my family, if we had the female struggles, you know, like female overload.
That's another extreme imbalance.
Yeah, extreme imbalance. Like I can see the extreme male imbalance of the male force as well happening in some of my classes.
Is there some sort of different energy to these two extremes, would you say, or is it just the same sort of struggle?
It's the same struggle, I would say,
Interesting, yeah.
because it's a competing kind of energy that
Right.
that
So
is
you
being
don't listen
created.
to
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah. So that's quite interesting how
Yeah.
that works.
I would agree that the men need to listen more, I suppose, to the female
Yeah.
side. But also, I sort of disagree. Well, I mean, also I feel that like the boys, they need to. They don't need to be told that their behavior is wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, of course. I totally agree. Yeah.
So I've been thinking about schools that it might be a good idea to have gender separated schools, that the boys have one school and the girls their own, because then
Yeah.
the girls they wouldn't be interrupted by the boys and they could grow among
Yeah.
themselves
Yeah.
and feel safe, and then the boys they could sort of live out their energy and their maybe immaturity or whatever it is, like their competitiveness and not having to restrain themselves all the time.
Yeah.
And also I heard someone say that you could have this school for the boys, that it needs to be more a lot of outer framework, sort of, you need to give them rules and regulations, the boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to sort of harness their energy and keep it constructive or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's two different, because the girls they don't need that structure, maybe in as much, at least, like that's what I hear.
Yeah.
And I know in England, for example, they have boys and girls schools, so it's not like a very strange thing. I mean, it's been around.
Yeah. Boys' school and girls' school is not unusual.
No.
Definitely, and it has worked out for the better in many cases in England.
I think so.
But in our case in Sweden, I think it's kind of a unfamiliar kind of plane to work at right now.
Yeah, people feel it's very strange.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah. In my case, what I meant was that I think it's not a good way to approach a guy, perhaps from or a boy in school, from a teacher point of view, and say that what you did right now was wrong. In this case, or telling that their behavior is wrong many times. It's just that right now it's interrupting our class right now, and that's what's not working. It's not like a personal kind of thing here. It's just that we have to work as a group here for the learning process. And I think it's a good way to, or what I do, or try to do my best, is that I make the boys aware of the situation. Like usually they're not aware that they're just having fun, or just poking each other or whatever. But right now what's happening is they fail to listen. They're like interrupting class. They're also disturbing like the girls in class who tries to focus, or the boys that tries to focus and listen. So it becomes kind of a problem. So but I try my best to not feel like that boy is the problem.
Right, it's just the behavior, but
exactly.
not the person.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what's so wrong, because some guys are really they react in extremes.
You mean the teachers?
No, the boys in class that has interrupted the class.
Right.
They can respond in an extreme way when they're being told, or being silenced, or let's say like
they would disrespect you. If
yeah,
you tell
exactly.
them.
Yeah, it happens sometimes, but then I see that either way my communication has been wrong from my side, or their reaction is like, okay, wow, way too extreme for the current situation. It's like overreacting to something that, like, even though they're being made aware of the situation, it's like they don't want to listen to it, and they just want to walk their own path. It's
and you don't know what these children have from their homes and background, and maybe some psychology
exactly
traits that would make them to behave in certain ways towards authority.
So one let's say like one perfect example here is that I noticed the whole situation and background of this student. So I kind of used an ace card versus that student. You know, like I don't want to bring up like I've talked to that boy's parents many times, you know, and it's like I don't want to bring your parents here once more. It's a final warning now. It's okay, you know. Right now you just have to chill down, you know. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna end well here, you know, if you continue doing this, you know, because right now you have like 8 girls that are pissed at you, and you have like the rest of the boys being pissed at you right now because we can't continue class.
You have to sort of find what will resonate with this boy, and what he is basically don't want to happen. Like his parents coming to school and
So I gave him like a polarity kind of extreme thing, and I brought it up in front of the whole class as well. That's like an extreme example as well, because it's like one person being pointed out in a group, and like we do not accept your behavior right now. It's like a kind of a big thing, you know.
Yeah, it is, and you're being the adult and the teacher, person in power. So
and then like the energy shifted from him being disrespectful towards me to it was like the whole group against him, like kind of scenario for a couple of seconds, you know. It was just like a kind of a stern looks, and then it was silenced, and we don't have to like call your parents right now and like solve this further, like do you understand? And suddenly it kind of shifted the energy. I don't know if it was a more domineering male energy that I used there, or like a female aspect of me, because I was trying to be really empathic as well. Like I tried to have a more kind of a balanced energy when I approached him. So it's like somehow I used the perfect amount of female energy there as well to calm him down somehow. And then it like suddenly bursted somehow, or switched, and he started crying and said like, "Oh no, please don't call my parents," and like I don't want this either.
Right. Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, whoa. So like, and then he worked for the rest of the day, like. He was like really laid back and chill. Like something had to burst. Something had to crack there. And
I suppose he was doing all this acting out maybe from a place of hurt, maybe, or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it was a relief to let go.
Yeah.
Somehow, maybe.
Yeah. I noticed a lot of frustration. Like perhaps his side of the male energy or aspect wasn't listened to. You know, or maybe I matched his male energy somehow, and I do understand that it's frustrating. You know, I acknowledged his feelings, you know, and I see those things as quite irritable as well, you know, when those things happen, and I agreed with him, you know, and back and forth, and then it kind of worked out, you know, and that's something that surprised me today when I think back of it. Because I'm trying to analyze, now that we talk about male and female energy, what sort of a balance was there? What happened? Like, so
And I mean, it's when you're in group psychology, I suppose it feels very good for the group when the leader is taking a firm grip of the situation and sort of like takes control. People like that someone is the leader, and I think that's what I've heard. But
in this case it worked out, like in this example, or but sometimes there's also a disharmony as well that happens, like if I go on, like if I bring up things too early, or like I do it like way too disrespectful, or if I do it like in a way that doesn't match the group, then I notice like the group scattering in different small groups, agreeing on different things, and
I'm thinking like, what you done is good or it's bad, changing your role.
Because sometimes I notice like most of the group totally disagree with what I said, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, if the girls are feeling like they are pushed aside, they you would imagine that they would be happy if you told the boys to
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah, because then they're sitting there with like arms across and like, yeah, we told you so, yeah.
Yeah, they sort of
Yeah, exactly.
they get some support for
Yeah.
their point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I suppose maybe this having mixed classes, boys and girls, it's more work, of course. I think for the teacher, but it's a big learning opportunity for
Yeah.
everyone also.
Yeah. And sometimes it works fine in my case being alone with the classes, but sometimes I take in reinforcements like older women, for instance, that come to class and like balance out the energy.
Yeah, with their presence. Or?
Yeah, just with their presence in the background helps.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, that would be the matriarch sitting there. And
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like a really like old like tribe mother in the back. Because she can silence like if the girls are having a quarrel or like nagging on each other, you know. It's like then she works in a whole other different kind of energy to handle that situation. Better than me, you know. Most of the times actually. So it's
that's really cool to have these older men and women. They have so much to offer, I suppose.
Yeah.
If they are possessed with wisdom, of course. But,
yeah. And
you don't have to be wise because you're old, I suppose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can be. You can be quite the opposite, actually.
Yeah,
so,
it's both ways.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time for a toilet break.
Yeah, sounds good. So we'll be back shortly. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're back after the break.
Yep.
And we were talking about female and male.
Yeah. Female and male energy, kind of thing. I brought up a quite extreme scenario in class that I've been called things, you know, from a certain student, and so. Sometimes it's been scenarios that the student have been calling me or names, or that I have a fake beard, you know, and that I'm gay, you know, that I just don't know it yet, you know, and I should shave, you know, or.
It's interesting that the
like
kids all still today they say that you're gay like in a negative way, like because when we grew up because we like 30 40 now, but then we would say like you're gay, but that meaning basically that you're an idiot, right? It has nothing to do with sexuality, but it's still is a put down word.
In Sweden it's or in my scenario as well, it's been kind of a negative energy vibe to it. Gay, kind of, oh, you're so gay.
Yeah, and they say it's still today, but today is supposedly our society is accepting homosexuality, like very in a big way, but still the kids,
but the word gay is associated with
or like fag, maybe you say bög in Swedish.
It's more like it has nothing to do with actually like being gay. It has more like a negative notation to it, like you're bad, you're like less, more likely, like kind of a
it's a put down word.
You creep, or maybe you're insect. Basically, it's really weird how it like that word clings today in schools, and I'm working with like kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old, you know, and they're using it, you know. It's really but in this case it's like it was one student that she's been like nagging at me or like playing mind games or mind fucking back and forth, you know. It's been really irritating, you know. So usually when I'm like being met with so much negative energy, you know, I try to respond back like 10 times worse, you know, just to like get an end to it, you know. To an extreme, and know that like I'm dropping the final bomb here, like
Yeah, there's no coming back after this.
It's like a point of no return.
Yeah.
So I usually do that. That's the type of person I am, I think, because I can only absorb so much shit.
Yeah.
Then I just throw everything back, you know. So in this case, it was like one student, like we've been fighting back and forth, and like been talking with her parents back and forth, and it's been a struggle, you know. But in this case, it was like, oh, this work is so ugly, and like and blah blah blah, and like yeah, it's almost as ugly as you are, you know. And right now you're being really, really, really like irritable, you know, like you like, oh, don't call me that, you know, like oh, back and forth, you know, and then I just dropped the bomb again, and like you are like you are like you were some troubled child or like really a problem right now, you know, and then I just show her the way out, you know, from class, and she started screaming and like crying, and something bursted, you know, and it shows kind of like later, like 2 weeks later, her mom came to school as well, and like saw me and just nodded towards me, and like we had a good talk, and then like later I saw her mom basically like being really agitated with her girl, and saying that she should apologize to me.
Right.
Yeah. And before class she came to me and like apologized, and like told me the whole backstory as to why her behavior was that kind of way, you know, towards me. And I found out later that I somehow reflected her like what's it called, like it's not her real father,
The
but
stepdad.
yeah. Some of my actions reminded her of her stepdad, and the sort of behavior reflected that, and I got like all the shit she wanted to say to him. It basically, she poured everything on me, you know.
Yeah.
Because of that, and I was mind blown when I realized, and I said that I'm not your stepdad, you know. I just wanted to put down a boundary here, like, you know. And wow, it worked out great after that, and till this day it's like super good, you know. It's never been a problem anymore, so
Yeah, that's great.
yeah. So we have a good relationship today. Yeah, it's great. So
It's interesting that one part where the stepdad could sort of trigger, like if your stepdad tell you to do something,
yeah,
or not to do something,
yeah,
setting boundaries, that's sort of very sensitive for children, I suppose.
yeah, I think so.
I feel for myself also the same way. Like I don't like when I also have a stepdad, and when he sets boundaries,
Yeah.
it's very frustrating for me.
Yeah.
And, when I
Yeah.
was little, and
Yeah.
so I can mirror myself in that
Yeah.
reaction, sort of.
Yeah. It's like a reaction of like you have this agitated face towards your stepdad, and like, you're not my real father. It's like, wah.
Yeah.
But when it came to the female and the male energy here, in this case, it was great energy of male energy from this girl, I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And
In what way?
the frustration, the kind of my way or the highway kind of thing, when it comes to like pure irritation, like pure frustration to almost like a crying outburst, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no one has listened to me, like no one understands, you know. And it's something that she wanted to say, you know, and no one listened really. And this example of like taking your own step from the group, or taking your own step from your mother, or in this case, because she was distancing herself from her mother as well in this case. So I felt that kind of a male energy in her, like really like kind of fighting spirit, you know, that I mostly seen in my male friends, for
Right.
instance, or competition, for instance. Yeah, a huge kind of fighting force in that girl. And she was like larger any other of the girls, you know, taller and like stronger as well. So it
Mhm.
was really much of a like testosterone bomb. Like,
Okay.
yeah, but it really cool,
Yeah.
cool person, you know,
Right.
to work with. But in this case, when that energy wasn't like understood or like being listened to, like outbursts was about to come, you know. So
Mhm.
and I kind of mirrored that into my own like genuine like female force instead, like that heart, like really listening, you know, and
Mhm.
being the more passive type of person, and it worked out great, you know, like because she had so much to talk about, you know, and like frustrations to pour out, you know, and
So you
uh,
you took to be more of a listening person.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
Mm.
and it worked great, yeah. First off, the first reaction was that I had to like use my male force to just put down the boundary, you know, and just throw her
Yeah.
out of the class, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
And then afterwards you would be
yeah,
more receptive to
yeah, exactly,
listen.
yeah, yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
It's,
because yeah,
mm.
when I get the understanding first, like from a person, it's more likely that when I already like figured out the unconscious level or like the more like shadow aspects of a person, and I truly do understand them like genuinely,
Mm.
like their energy, not so much perhaps the words they have to say somehow, but I listen to the energy, you know, and like what is the real intention here, you know,
Mm.
and you can really listen to it and acknowledge that. That's huge, I feel like, yeah,
Mm.
that's a great way, especially working with kids, I feel.
Yeah, because they're more like direct and they're not able to hide so
Yeah,
much
yeah,
playing games in
yeah,
that way.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you truly understand another person and know how they work, sort of, so you can
yeah,
interact in a positive way.
yeah. Like it's kind of a 5-step situation here. Like you have to like scratch the surface first, you know, you get to the 4th step, you get to the whole like visible and like verbal communication stage, you know.
Mm.
And then it's like the 3rd way is like, why are they saying this, you know, the whys and hows. And then you get to the kind of the 2nd step there, which is what are the intentions behind this saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the deep one on the 1st level here is like the shadow aspect, the unconscious side of things, like where is this coming from, like from the start, like the core of it.
The shadow is always, uh, if I understand it correctly, driven by some sort of negative feeling or something problematic. Is it?
It can be driven from fear,
Yeah.
which is not per se a negative feeling,
Mm-hmm.
I would say. It's uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean that it has to be negative.
No, I
So-
suppose if there are situations that when it's appropriate to be fearful because it will save your life or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But,
That's a great outcome, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I can see it's not like negative, but how to put it? It's not like joy, for example. It's
No,
it's
no.
fear.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
in that way
Exactly.
positive and
Yeah,
negative.
it's its own thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's really hard sometimes to work these feelings out, because in the male aspects and female aspects of life, I feel maybe we men and women react to these sort of things in different ways, and that's quite interesting to talk about, I feel, because what happens with women if they experience great fear, for instance, like compared to a man, what is the outcomes, you know, like usually in most cases males have the physical force of like championing through something, like defend themselves. What is the female way, you know, like being the sneaky, more passive pacifist solving problem solving aspect of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into those kind of thoughts as well, and I think that sometimes it's very difficult for a man to understand a woman, and for a woman to understand a man, and the way they feel and think, because from my personal experience, I feel like in relationships when women are interacting with me in certain ways, I feel like they're being what you say, like sneaky, or like fraudulent, or they want to cheat me somehow, because it would be more honest to just say what they want. Basically, that's what I feel that what is a male aspect of acting, but still, I mean, that's that way of doing things is also okay. Like,
would you say that dishonesty is a great female weapon?
well, yeah, I would say that, but also, it's not to put down women. I mean, it's just that we are different.
Yeah, I noticed that it's not your intention to trash talk women here, or something like that. It's just that you're prone to understand the whole situation of the female and male aspects of life, and seeing the differences, perhaps, or understanding why.
I think it's an important point to actually address that men and women are different, because today we tend to say that men and women are all the same, and it's just cultural differences that you could...
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And
That we actually are different somehow. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah.
And so I suppose if you would ask a woman what are men like,
yeah,
in the same way I say women are sneaky, they would say men are just loud and noisy, and they don't listen. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm just speculating here, but
or you're trying to take up like prejudice, like
well, prejudice is that prejudice is like when you
or perhaps more generalization.
Generalization and what. I don't know really where I'm going now. But,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, the male and female aspects then, and I was talking a bit earlier about the different feelings we have in life, from fear, agony, hatred, let's say like anxiety, depression, despise, irritable feelings, not understanding, a confused feeling, perhaps. There's so many feelings that most people don't even know about. Like they have the feeling, but they can't really register it, And I usually look up different emotional dictionaries,
right,
like of different emotions and what they mean. And it's quite quite interesting how many different feelings there are, and they're perfectly explained there, And reading through some of the like feeling dictionaries, it's sometimes when you're confused, you can just go into this like type of a feeling dictionary, and look up words, and then it's like you somehow, like most of the times, you can pinpoint, oh, that's the feeling I have.
You don't know it beforehand. Well, you just feel some weird somehow.
Yeah. In my case, that is, but it's like I can't put a word on it sometimes what I feel, and
then when you read it, how does it make you feel?
Feeling dictionaries is great for me to have, because it you kind of put words on what I feel,
and then you can relax into this. Okay, now I know what this is like.
Yeah, and first, sometimes it helps me to bring up the first level of understanding. Oh, this is the thing. Oh, yeah, this feeling. I have this feeling because of this scenario here. And when I find a scenario, like what triggered it, it's like I can go deeper to really resolve it. More likely, or be fine with it, whatever it might be, if it's not something I can let's say affect or like handle or
Yeah,
like
change the
yeah,
material.
I can't change it or like I can't affect this right now. It's fine. Okay, it just happened. Okay.
Yeah, well, the objective is to sort of release the emotion, I suppose.
Yeah,
So
either
you
way,
can't
yeah.
cling to it.
Yeah,
because-
either way, release it, be fine with it, accept it, or somehow release it. Yeah, release. Or
Yeah, that's
solve.
the way I think about it, at least, because I find myself some days feeling really depressed or angry or whatever, and then I would just want to release it, but you have to find a way. How you explained.
Yeah.
You have strategies that work. And,
Yeah.
And you can be at ease when you release it.
Yeah. Sometimes the perfect solution, what you need to do is not to release it. It's to resolve it somehow within yourself. And sometimes if it comes to a depressive kind of a feeling or like a really destructive feeling, if you try to release that energy, it becomes destructive in other paths.
You think that
you can create destruction by releasing it somehow in the wrong direction, like or towards another person perhaps that you don't mean to hurt.
Sure, I agree. I actually mean resolve.
Yeah.
More like
Yeah.
internally. I don't mean that you should like go out and hurt someone
because
you're angry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree.
Feelings wise, I think it's a good thing to resolve them in a healthy manner. I would say.
Yeah, I have my strategies. I make sounds for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Make angry sounds in 40 minutes.
Yeah, whatever sounds comes out.
Yeah.
So there's many strategies, I suppose.
Then I have this like mental picture of your mother coming in, like, what the freak is going on here? Like,
and I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I have this little house I live in for the moment, and it's good. It's very secluded. It's like a hermit's hut. I can do whatever I like.
Yeah.
I don't disturb anyone so much.
From an ENFP point of view, I can say I approve of this, and it's extremely cozy, bohemic, and you have music on the walls. You have both poetry, deep wisdom, knowledge, books. You have the nerdy side. You have the yoga. You have the shamanic ways here. You can feel like a good energy within this little hut here. It's great.
Yeah, it's. I try to make the best of it. Of course, I would be happy if we could take out these machines that are standing here. It's a very crowded. But, what can you do? Is have to make the best of it. And,
and you also seem to have your own chosen mentors or inspirational people.
Yeah, like Indian gurus, like this is named Karoli Baba. He's called. And, I find inspiration in this serene and happy faces.
Yeah.
This female saint also she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
She got enlightened when she was very young. So.
Oh. Okay.
She's called Anandamai.
Yeah. Also Indian.
Yeah, so it's an Indian saint.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So right now we notice like different like influences and inspirational things here from an INTJ perspective, and being or having this little like as you said like hermit hut, more secluded, a kind of peace of mind environment. It's something that really makes INTJs grow. I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I'm safe and I can recharge and it's really nurturing.
Yeah.
So it's good to find out sometimes what's your ideal situation so you can move towards it. But it takes a lot of time sometimes.
yeah. Because like even though when I didn't know you, perhaps like when we didn't know each other's types as well. It was like I told you earlier, like that you should find your like happy place, or like you find a situation where you can like work with good energy, and it's so important, because I noticed you were out of balance, or stressed and like
and
you lived in Gothenburg,
right, And
was-
it's so easy to get into thinking that you have to do, like externally people tell you what you should do, or you have ideas.
Yeah.
So you don't listen to your needs, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. So you lived in a concrete jungle, basically.
yeah.
Yeah, really stressed out. No green, no forest, not the wild.
Right.
Yeah.
Did I live in this collective house?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't good either.
Yeah.
The last time I lived in a collective setting, I think, because it's not good for me.
Yeah. You need your own space and place.
Sure, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So when one person discovers that, I think it's wow. It's kind of a aha moment to realize that I've been only thinking about what I should do or what I need doing from like some others' ideas or others' will, perhaps not my own.
Yeah, I think it's common. Like many people are brought up that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the same for you. You were brought up to do things you were like supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, my ex-girlfriend, she grew up in an anthroposophic setting, Waldorf schools and stuff like that. Where they encourage children from a very early age to, like, listen to what you feel, and nothing is impossible, and just do it, basically.
Yeah.
And she's so incredibly creative, and she never thinks about what others would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sort of almost jealous about that sort of
Okay. Yeah.
upbringing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's my case also. I had a mother who was exactly like that,
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible. You can do whatever you want,
Mm.
But in the bad side is that I started doubting myself instead. so it's like I had this great upbringing from her, like inspiration, motivation, and everything like that,
Yeah, very positive side.
Yeah. But then, like, when I started going out in the world, like the real world, and started like encountering problems, I was more like I was kind of shook, like oh my god, it's scary. So
Right.
yeah. But yeah.
Mm. So how do we get back to the theme for today now?
Yeah, I think like this side course here is great to have because we can always jump into the male and female aspect of our own, let's say.
Whatever comes up.
Yeah.
No, I know something that I'm curious about because we have this framework of MBTI. And how that relates to male and female, and like what would be more dominant, and like you could speculate maybe that the personality is so much more important than the sex.
Yeah.
And like, so it doesn't really matter if you're male or female.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But
I don't know what's true.
I don't have facts here, but I can
speculate.
I can speculate and fantasize a great deal about it, because I noticed that some personality types are prone to be more to have feminine attitudes or male attitudes, per se. What is mostly seen as a dominant male kind of energy in society today, like going for something, grabbing what you want, and just go for it, basically the highway, 1 point direction, like oof.
Sure.
Yeah, that's typical kind of what I've noticed, or the people I've been talking with, or a friend of mine, a whole other different type, ESTJ. A whole other dimension, like when it compared to me being an ENFP. It's not a great dynamic between us. It's really high competition and extremely, they don't care what I think.
Okay.
It's like not caring whatsoever. It's just kind of a hard love kind of feeling. You know, it's and I try to understand their side, you know, and it's really hard because mostly I find them like somehow we end up calling each other stupid for different choices we make in life.
but he has this personality type that is, you would say, is male oriented sort of.
Society-wise, it would be seen as a kind of a male dominant kind of whoa.
Right. One pointed attention or whatever he can
exactly.
just go into.
And genuinely don't care about what others feel.
Yeah. It's not
that's
put on. It's just
it's like
it just doesn't care.
Walk over a dead corpse and don't care.
Yeah.
Basically, and that personality can be found in females.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
And
all the types have male and female.
Yeah, exactly. To some percentage, like the percentage difference as well, which is quite interesting. Like, why is there twice as many ENFP girls as boys?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? That's like interesting.
Yeah.
And
could do research on that, I suppose.
Yeah. And it's like, why are they only like 1% of INTJs, perhaps? Like, it's really rare. Like,
but
yeah.
1% of male INTJs.
No, the total. Like, I don't know how many.
Total of population.
Yeah, exactly. And
in
I don't.
in the world.
Yeah, and it like INTJs, like your personality type, is really rare. You know.
Yeah.
And it's special.
Interesting. Yeah. It's good for the ego to hear that.
Yeah, but it's well, just because you're special or rare doesn't mean that it's like so, I have to bring you down.
There are some setbacks. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like this system, when it tells you that you're unique, you feel like, yeah, I'm pretty special.
Yeah, okay. Like, I think that, like, if INFJs and INTJs feel like they're special because of this, I think they're on the wrong path. But
yeah. And but if you look on the internet, like forums where I look at ENTJ forum now, and there's a lot of this going on, like we're so special and intelligent and sort of arrogant tone.
If they continue down the arrogant like ego path, I think it will hurt them in the end. It will come back and just bite them in the ass.
Yeah, I suppose. But I understand it because I have that trait myself, and it feels really good to be arrogant for me.
Yeah.
So I have to control myself.
Like, of course. Like like concerning like others as stupid, or like my intelligence is way above yours. The evil mastermind. But then
I feel so superior.
Exactly.
But even if I'm not.
But if you come at it from one side, having a hard life, or like self-confidence at zero, and hearing these things, it can be a boost, of course, like definitely. So it sure helps you. I think like myers-briggs have also helped me from a point of like perspective that, oh my god, it's only 2 to 1 and male to female, so that makes me feel even more special. So it's the same kind of thing, but I noticed that
but you're not so prone to being arrogant, I think. Like it's not so comes so quickly for you. Or does it?
If you have the arrogant side, I think I have more the sarcastic side.
Right.
Instead, like if
you can be too sarcastic if you don't.
Yeah, really sarcastic.
Rein in yourself. Like,
yeah. Sarcastic and critical, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Critical of others, so you would turn it outside instead of inside. Or so.
Yeah. I would start criticizing, or like finding weak spots in the person, you know, and like really pinpoint like. So if you would go to the arrogant side and like somehow I could just find like, but you lack this and this and this and this, and it's like you're missing this point and you're missing this, like so it's really interesting how it works. From my side, it's in life, it's myers-briggs have really helped me to understand things like within myself that has been shaded or clouded.
Yeah. It's been a problem for you, maybe some aspects, and resolve. The issues,
and missing a father role in life with a male kind of energy. I feel like Myers-Briggs have really helped that to discover being my own father in life.
Oh, that's interesting. In
yeah.
what way would you say?
Many, let's say, like many situations in life where I have doubted myself.
Yeah.
Like earlier, I would doubt myself for being able to finish something or completing something or stumbling halfway.
Right.
It's like a little voice inside my head that says like, it's okay to step back, somehow,
Yeah.
and just because you can't finish it today, doesn't mean that you can't finish it like tomorrow or something like that. Like sometimes it's okay to rest as well. And it's okay to attack a problem from different sides. So if you can't solve it today, you can find the answer tomorrow.
Just leave it and let it sit for the moment.
Exactly. So that way have helped me to like I identify that side in me being more male energy.
I suppose it's a very rational sort of. It makes sense. And,
extremely rational, extremely calm, soothing kind of energy, self-confident energy.
Yeah, it's going from a sort of chaotic situation where you just want to push on. And,
it's like the female aspect of me is like, oh my god, I don't know what to do, and like, like overreacting, like this is so hard, I will give up. You know, oh my god. And then it's like the male energy comes down and calms the mind almost, and calms my heart as well. And like, it's okay. We can like let's take the meeting tomorrow, and if the female aspects comes up with questions within myself, or brings up the problems, the male is there to somehow discover the answers or adventure out in the unknown and discover the problems and try to solve them. That's how my aspects works, I feel.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the personality types really helped with that. Yeah.
Yeah, to balance male and female.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah. What I actually missed in life. Yeah. Yeah. They balanced that out. And I found friends in life who really balanced that out as well. So you, for instance, and other friends who really like brought up different new ways of thinking. You know, I think like the things you're missing in life, it's like you somehow like destiny-wise or somehow find people in life who balance those sides. So yeah.
Would you say that the personality types you could meet people that balances you? I feel the same about you. We make a good match in that way.
Yeah.
And it's very useful, and it would be good to know everybody's type, but not everybody has done the test. So,
and
you can't know, but
the thing is like with all sorts of esoteric knowledge. Like unknown knowledge or like the knowledge of the unknown, chaos theory or whatever. Let's see here. Things that society-wise or like popular science, you know, usually stamp this as stupid, perhaps, or they trash talk it, or like this is not totally right and blah blah blah. You know, it's mostly because they don't find it useful to themselves.
Right.
They can't handle the tool.
Yeah, they don't know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sort of seen as a pseudoscience, or maybe
even though exactly.
Yeah, but it's still very so useful for.
So usually, if those types of people in life, like if they are close to me and they say like, "Oh, this is stupid," that's exactly what I start to read, you know, or something like that. If other people, like most of the people, say that this is stupid, this is pseudoscience, this is not true, or whatever, like I am the first to jump in and like, what is not true? What is like, Yeah.
There must be something here. Huh?
Yeah, there must be some knowledge here. Like you know, it can't be bullshit. You know, everything can't be bullshit straight off. You know.
No.
So there's I like thanks to that I found many different like useful things in life thanks to that. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Yeah. So when we talk about finding someone to complement you as a type,
Yeah.
you could it could be either like a man or a woman, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
would that matter somehow? You say?
Yeah, man or woman in life.
Yeah.
Could be all the different types, of course.
Mm.
But in my case, I've always been prone to finding women in life.
Yeah. Like relationships.
Yeah, all my relationships like have been like both monogamous and more what's not just monogamous.
When you
but,
have several partners.
poly, yeah, as well, and it's been working out like in those aspects. I think I feel most comfortable in that way, or maybe that's something that I've just been through or like something like that. In my own case, I've also been with guys also, like more closer relationships, but not like sexual relationships.
No, but still very like emotionally close.
Emotionally connection, mental connection, yeah, and even physical connection in that side. You know, like it's been like massage, yoga, like relaxing together. You know,
Yeah.
like in that aspect, like it's been working great. You know, and I'm not into. I think in that aspect I'm more bisexual. I think.
Right.
Even though I haven't had like sex with the same sex,
Sure.
but I feel more prone towards that side in life. Yeah, and the male and female aspects in me are, right as of now, more balanced in that way. I feel to be at ease to find connections in both sexes.
Right.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, because it can be, I think, can be harder because of your background to have connections with some of the sex.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
A man or woman, but
yeah, I think so. But like earlier in life, I was more prone to the way things should be, or in the traditional ways, because that's my upbringing. Very harsh traditional side of thinking, which is not even close to who I am really. So like later in life, I've been discovering new ways more likely and going my own way and trying to discover new sides, and trying out new things as well, which is great, for my personality type to really, if you have a longing or if you have a sort of like natural curiosity towards something, you strive for that, to try it out at least, even though it doesn't work out. The male aspect of me can say that don't worry, be at ease with this. You tried it out, that's fine. Now you have some new experiences from it. While the female aspect can sometimes overreact and like I feel like the female aspect in me are really hard towards me, because it's like I feel like a failure.
It's constantly nagging, is it?
Yeah, it's like a nagging feeling.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Question myself, doubt how I look, doubt how I act.
Yeah, that feels really like a female aspect.
Yeah, exactly. So in my own male aspects, it's more like a kind of don't worry about it. It's like
but because well, I just want to say that's sort of part of the where the female is very concerned about what other people think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's part of that. So
Yeah,
I think that's true actually.
Yeah.
Like, but the male is more like, I don't care, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, or that's how it.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's how it's been in my case at least. And the male, the bad side of the male aspect would be that I can be procrastinating instead. Like, don't worry, it's not like a big problem right now. I don't care about it. And then it's
too
like
comfortable, eh?
Yeah, too comfortable, or like stupid even, because I can see the problem from far away, and the female aspect of me is like warning me about something, Yeah. Then it's like the female aspect in me somehow acts as the I hate to say I told you so side. You know, it's like, and the male is like, oh man, I should have done this. Like, and then it's like the female is like, yeah.
Yeah, you get stopped
Told you so. Yeah.
a lot of times just not doing what you want to do because you picture a lot of problems and yeah, I got that as well.
Yeah.
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 So sometimes you need a kick in the butt. So
Yeah, sometimes.
started.
Yeah. So sometimes it's the female aspect in me who kicks my butt to, like, go out and grab something or do something.
Right.
And sometimes it's the male, like depending on what situation I'm in. If it's a energy-wise female aspect, fearful situation,
Yeah.
the male is there to like defend or, like, let's say it's a physical needing situation, for instance, like
What do you mean?
the male aspect is there to help the female aspect in me, like
like threatening physical
yeah,
violence.
yeah,
Whatever.
for instance, yeah, exactly. So, like, if I react to my female, let's say I have the perfect scenario here because we were out partying with a couple of friends from the bar, and we got into this alleyway, and a gang shouted towards me and my friends that we had nice jackets. We want them.
Oh.
That was it. That was like the whole scenario. That's the start.
Yeah.
So we started running, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we noticed that, oh shit, they're more than us, and they look stronger from this far away, and they look really threatening. Okay, that's bad. So we started running like towards the what's it called, subway station, and in a town in Stockholm called the Old Town. It's really tight spaces, really claustrophobic, scary.
Yeah, narrow streets.
Narrow
and,
streets, yeah. And we had to run around in this little town, being chased from a gang. And we had to hit the subway. We had to get there. And we had like a good 150 meters head start, I would say. And my female aspect just shouted, like screaming inside me, holy shit, this is going to end bad, this is going to, oh my god, I'm gonna die. It's like, what the fuck is going on, you know? But now I want to back the band, like I want to back towards where it all started again. Now we're being chased, but I'm going back to the start again, because the female aspect here really helped at the start, tried to help at least. It tried to calm the situation with words and communication first, not the physical force.
Because you could have choose to fight them. Like,
yeah, I could choose to fight them, like at the start, but I tried to, what's it called, like disarm the situation. So I tried to talk back to them, and when I noticed that didn't work, you know, they were already fixed, you know.
Yeah, they were gonna take your jackets.
And they were gonna take our jackets and beat us, basically. And I noticed that, okay, I had to just cut that off, and we started running. You know, it was like that fast of a situation, like fight or flight kind of deal.
Yeah, and then it matters if what kicks in first. Like if it's your very macho feeling kicks in first, like you feel provoked and I'm gonna beat these guys.
Yeah. And I felt provoked, and I felt like really agitated. You know, I wanted to, you know. But the other aspect of me was smart that, okay, it's quite stupid to jump in as a hero versus 4 guys at the same time.
It makes good sense.
Yeah, so that was more stupid of a choice. So I discerned that choice, and I started running with my friend, Hiro. And the thing was, he was right before me, and a couple of friends were like running way before we did.
Okay,
So
you
I was a bit late, so
standing and arguing with them a little.
yeah.
Or trying to
Yeah.
disarm the situation.
Yeah. So trying to disarm, we failed, and we really failed because like I just had to run. Yeah, my friends called me like just run. What the fuck? That's stupid. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then the female aspect in me was screaming and like, oh shit, this is going to end bad. I have nothing to add to this. It was like that side of me, the female aspect have nothing to add more.
No,
Like it's already over. They didn't listen like to the words I had to say. It's like there were no smarts in this whatsoever. No communication to just disarm the situation, and it already turned out bad.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the only option is to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we go forward again to where we being chased, and some of my friends wanted to turn back and ambush them.
Right.
So one of while we were running, he was talking to me and said like we can hide and basically bump Adam from behind somewhere in the alley, and that would mean that we might get hurt. You know, we might get like because they were more, but we had the moment of surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could turn out good. The thing was, we actually went with that choice. So we started hiding, and some of the guys who were really fast in the other group, they passed, and some of the guys were left. So we managed to split the group, their group, which was great, you know. But in this scenario, my male force is like, okay, let's get him, let's fight back, you know. But then the female aspect jumped in again, and like, hey, it's a new situation. We don't have to. It's like, hey, and I started communicating to my friends like, hey, we don't even have to. Just shut the fuck up and just let them pass.
Yeah, it would. You don't have to ambush them at all.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to use force. Again, we got to a scenario from force to like splitting the group, and like now we don't have to. It's like we managed to get lost basically. Yeah, we really did get lost because I was lost. I didn't know where I ran. So I ran to some back alley near a restaurant. But
and you'd been drinking, all of you, had you?
Yeah, exactly. We were kind of drunk, we were kind of dizzy, you know.
And also you lose some impulse control when you're drunk. So you're more acting more like intuitively maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you listen more to your female and male side when you're drunk.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
that's a good question.
You don't have the barriers of your thoughts like coming in the way. Just maybe more.
That's a great question actually, because I felt like when I was drunk I would act stupidly more.
Right, you would expect that you would be more prone to fight them if you're drunk. But, but you didn't.
No, this was not the case. I thought, like, I had a prejudice towards myself that I would make stupid choices and just beat them, you know, and get hurt. But I actually didn't. I became like this, trying, like, almost like a Sherlock Holmes kind of sort out the scenario kind of thing. So I told my friends, because we actually lost some friends along the way as well, who had a head start, so we didn't find them. So it was only me and another friend, and the other guys left. What happened was that I stayed. But the other guy tried to run, and I just waved at him to just stay for a while longer. And we stayed there for like 5-10 minutes or so until we didn't hear anything.
Right.
Like, I think the coast is clear, you know. And then we just went casually to the subway, you know.
Yeah.
And they didn't find us, so, which was great. So if the other group was like really out for us, you know, I think they could have just cut off the subway, you know, and just wait for us there.
Yeah,
at the subway.
Makes sense if they want to get you.
Yeah, but then again, you know, the subway has cameras, you know, the subway has guards. So
it's a safe space also.
Yeah, it's a safe space, so it would be a bad option for them, you know. So, but it worked out. So That was a kind of scenario, female and male aspect in a fight or flight scenario for me. My own experience. Yeah. Have you been in kind of a similar situation or another situation in life where you had to use or fight between the two sides or like?
Well, when I was like in my late teens and maybe 20s, I was hanging out with some guys who were like not so good company, I could say. So
Okay. Yeah.
so we were drinking and we were hanging out at night in places, and yeah, there was one time when we encountered another gang, and they came after us, and all the other people started running, but I didn't run because I felt provoked, so I just stayed.
Okay.
And they came up to me, and we started fighting, and they were much stronger than me, so
Ouch.
I got beat up.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yeah, but I have had a very strong sense of just not running, but to stand and fight. You know, it's not very useful strategy, but it's
Yeah. Especially when you're outnumbered. Like,
yeah. I know if you have a chance, it makes sense, but
Yeah. But yeah, I can really register like the same kind of thing, because like I am that kind of person who stand my ground,
yeah,
who wants to fight for what I believe in, you know, and everything like that. Even though I am outnumbered,
yeah,
but in this case, it was like really close because I was glad that I listened to my more flight and just like, okay, this is just stupid, like let's just go. I
Yeah.
just swallowed my pride, you know,
and
just went.
you were much older then, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
you were like 30 or something.
Yeah, I was 26.
Yeah, so you're more developed in your emotions and thinking, like
Oh yeah.
when you're a
Yeah.
teen.
Oh yeah, because I saw the consequences more clearly, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, and I was really drunk, I must say.
Okay.
They kicked me in the face, and
Yeah.
I didn't feel it so much.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Just afterwards, the lips were just messed
Ouch.
up.
Ouch. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's also interesting, like the way the women, the female side is more worried, because
Yeah.
you can see it in I like statistics. You can see statistics from the Swedish government about that women are more worried about going out in the town at night, but they are not. The men are more subject to violence, much more. Like if you're a man, you're very likely to be beat up compared to a woman.
Oh,
But the
interesting.
women are very much more worried going out.
Because they are afraid to get beaten up. Or
Yeah, of course, they are also afraid of being raped and
yeah, of course,
and
like
such.
over like rumbled, like
Assaulted,
assaulted, yeah,
sexually
yeah.
assaulted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that's of course a terrible thing. And I mean, not men are not subject to that sort of assaults so much, at least.
Yeah.
What I know.
Yeah.
But still, also being attacked sexually is quite rare. So you know, it's the level of worry is sort of high compared to to the because not every woman gets raped.
Yeah.
At night in the city. You know?
Yeah. And maybe it's like over. Would you say it's an overreaction? You know, or like over worrisome kind of deal for females to have that.
Well, if you just look at the statistics and compare to
reality,
to the reality of the situation, yeah, it seems like that. But then again, it's hard to say something.
Yeah, maybe I think that like speaking with my female friends, when I got like, let's say like under the hood kind of scenario with my female friends. How it works, like the whole like logistic behind planning a night out with female friends.
All right.
It's really interesting how my female friends works as a team, in that kind of scenario because it's like they have like a escape path. They have like communication between each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have their phone numbers at hand. Like they have everything planned out basically for the evening, you know. And
Yes.
some of my female friends have stilettos in their shoes.
Oh wow. They have some sort of knife in their shoes actually.
Yeah, in their heel.
In the heel.
Yeah.
Like so it's mounted on the shoe. So if you take off the shoe and like
Yeah, exactly.
You have a knife.
Yeah. So or some another female friend has it on her thigh,
yeah.
like inner thigh.
Yeah.
So it's super easy to just take out and stab,
Mm.
to defend herself.
Mm.
So when I got into communicating with them, it's like I wasn't even close to like understanding how serious it is for them because it's
They take it very seriously. Yeah. Obviously when you
yeah
see this sort of preparation. Right?
yeah, of course I don't want to be sexually assaulted, like, you know, and get something shoved up my ass, you know. It's like ouch. It's like
yeah, it's a horrible thing, and you keep it with you for many years, I suppose.
yeah, but the
this
thing
sort
is
of,
like being like what's it called, powerless, you know.
yeah, you're powerless.
Yeah,
and
total like situation of being powerless and like just getting beaten down, you know, and basically your body's being used and trashed.
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It's like it must be I've not like gotten in any situation like that at all, but talking with my friends, it's like who have been through those kind of things, it's I get this kind of then the male aspect, like the male energy in me is become like really pissed, you know, and like really want to defend, you know. A woman like that, and when I hear those things, it's like oh my god. I get so like unbalancedly angry almost.
Sure, yeah. But is it like perhaps it's so much worse to be raped than to be beaten up? Like, so it makes sense for
I
women
think it's 100% worse.
Yes, so that would in itself explain why women take this so seriously, and why they are actually so worried going out, because just the sort of chance that you could be raped is even if it's very rare, it's
because it's not only like being you lose physically, you know. It's not only that, it's like your body is being used and then trashed as well. On top of that,
it's very humiliating.
To overextend, you know. And then it's like the whole walk of shame almost home. And then it's like the whole scenario.
Or go to the police station maybe to report the crime.
Yeah, and some females say that, like some of my female friends say that if you go to the police station in Sweden, or like the taking illegal rights towards this, it's like you feel like you're being raped again, because people first don't believe you, or like they start to question the victim even. Like, how were you dressed, you know, and like how were you, like all these silly things, you know, and that shouldn't be a factor, you know.
Sure.
Which is totally stupid in many ways. But so listening to all of this, I feel like the female aspect in me feel worried, you know, as well. So I can totally understand. And then the male aspect in me feel like, oh my god, smash.
It's a horrible thing to do, and but it's a very few. Of course, the men are overrepresented in rape, assaults. By far, it's not many women doing that.
Yeah.
But still, there's a very few men who are actually doing this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes today we get sort of a discussion that all men are rapists. Basically, I feel if you look at social media.
Oh yeah, now now you're touching something that's
like with
really,
me too, and all this sort of input makes it looks like all men are bastards.
Oh yeah, now you're touching a base that it's really interesting, because statistical wise, as you said, it's so freaking low, you know.
Yeah.
But then again, Sweden, statistical wise, in the world is one of the most overrepresented when it comes to rape and rape assault.
Yeah, which
Um,
are reported to the police.
Yeah. Even the U.S. call like Stockholm like the rape capital of the world.
Yeah, I suppose.
So it's like really bad when it comes to that. Like, so in Sweden per se, if we have like our own statistics and say it's okay, compared to many other countries, it's really bad. So
Yeah. And also another interesting factor is actually that in Sweden we don't keep like track of ethnicity when we look at crime.
Okay.
But there's a Swedish program on Swedish television. They looked at who are doing the most part of the rape.
Okay. Yeah.
And nowadays it's actually immigrants doing that.
Okay.
And a certain group, mostly from Algeria.
Okay.
I think it's called, the country in Africa.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah. So how to explain that? It's not. It could be like because they are refugees. They have lived in very difficult circumstances when they fled to Sweden, and they're young men, and they're also with a different cultural background.
Yeah.
Where women are usually more like they hide their shapes, and the hair is covered.
Yeah.
So maybe they feel like, no, we can do this. We can rape women here. And
so it's basically they have a whole different viewpoints of many different aspects in life, basically.
Yeah, it's a different culture, and still I don't want to say that immigrants are rapists, of course, because still this is only a small part of
basically
the immigrants. Right.
Then you would do the same as the females say that all men are bad guys.
That's true. But this information, my point is that this information is very important in the overall discussion of
definitely
of men raping women.
Yeah,
because if you say it's only Swedish men, ethnic Swedes doing this.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some, but...
and then it's like a really sensitive case in Sweden these days as well, because if that information would have gotten out, it would create a storm of, now you're not only a rapist, now you're a racist rapist.
Well, If you say that it's the immigrants who are rapists, then you would be a racist.
Yeah, exactly. But the worst thing is like if like you're like, let's say a Swedish rapist blaming the immigrants instead, like, oh no, it's just like that side that raped. It's not me, blah blah blah.
Sure.
Now you're a racist rapist, even like that's how the society sees it today. It's like first the female aspect of it, like blaming all guys are the bad guys, It's like, and now you have this kind of a fucked up scenario where like now everyone is the bad guy basically from the male side. But statistical wise, okay, serious now though, is that okay? You said immigrants are the highest number of the rapist cases in Sweden.
Yeah, it's been shown. Yeah. I don't know the exact percentage, but maybe 60 or 70% of the rapists would have foreign background.
Yeah. So energy-wise now, talking about the male aspect and female aspect of life, how do you feel with your different sides regarding these things as rape, sexual assault, and have you been through anything? Do you know anyone? Like, how what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's time for another break, and I will keep this question.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, let's continue after the break. Some more tea, perhaps?
Yes.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, so you asked about if I had any friends who had experiences of assault or rape or something.
Yeah. And what if you can integrate the male aspect and female aspect of your own, like, energies and what happened, or how do you think in those scenarios, basically?
Yeah, it's not much to say. for me. But when I studied art in a town called Umeå in the north of Sweden.
Yeah.
It was some years ago, and when I studied there was rapists who were running around in the town at night.
Yeah.
He was called Hagamannen.
Yeah.
And it was on the national news. Because he was a very violent rapist, and the women he attacked, he both raped them and beat them, and severely, like.
Okay.
And I remember the girls in at the school. I talked to one of my classmates, and she was saying how worried she was about this, and she couldn't like go out at night, and it was limiting her life very much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
And well, I really realized that I didn't see her view of it. For me it wasn't a big deal. This guy, of course, because he wouldn't attack me, and because I'm a man.
Yeah.
So yeah. I remember feeling like, oh, interesting. How could I miss that? This is the way for her.
Yeah.
Like you're not aware of sometimes of other people's how to say, worries. Maybe you don't feel.
Yeah.
You don't feel like. Yeah. You can follow my reasoning there. I think.
Yeah. But what if there were like a Haga-kvinnan, or the hag girl,
The hag woman.
the hag woman chasing you down, and raping you?
If I knew there was a female rapist.
Yeah, super strong.
Yeah, maybe she also.
Super scary.
Yeah, only attacked guys who were very tall and skinny and dark hair.
Beating them severely, and then butt raping them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. I find it very hard to picture this scenario, because it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Perhaps not realistic. Yeah.
No, but what is, haven't there been like gay rapists running around raping other men? That's maybe very. I haven't heard about that.
Maybe there is. I'm not sure.
No, it feels like this only happens to women, like being attacked.
Yeah. And this, I feel like this case is really severe as well. Like
the Hagamannen, this is extremely severe stuff. Yeah.
And I think it's a scenario like we have no first-hand experience with this, so like talking about this, like we're not out to mean any disrespect to any of the listeners experiencing this, of course, but like talking from our own experiences, I think it's more like, as you said, like drop and what's it called?
Post and drop
kind of scenario that we will go with here. Talk, get out the different aspects from our sides, and
And also, when you talk about this kind of things that you don't have so much personal experience about, it's like you can take it too lightly, I suppose. Like you don't, because if you're going through it, you would realize how serious this is. But
exactly.
But if you don't, you just have to speculate and sort of be honest with yourself and say what you think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there are cases of female perpetrators like in relationships with a man and a woman. There's also statistics from Sweden that it's more or less the same, like the woman and the man attacking each other, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
which is interesting. But the difference is that since men are stronger, their violence against women are more severe, and so the women get hurt more badly. But
Yeah.
many men are actually abused by their women as well, which
Yeah.
is not many people know that, I think.
Yeah. And I think that if the male aspect is more like physically severe, the women aspects are more mentally severe.
Sure, yeah.
I think like psychological attacks against men can be more severe from a female aspect because they can truly mindfuck in so many ways. And I've noticed like some of my friends who have been like really like that has gone through like sexual assault and many bad things, like both women and men who has been attacked by women in relationship as well, but it ended up him being portrayed as the bad guy for the physical assault he did.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead.
But before that happened, he had been attacked psychologically.
Yeah, exactly.
By this
Yeah,
woman. So.
yeah, exactly. And raped as well against his own will.
What, really?
Yeah. But it ended up because the in his self-defense he like physically hurt her, so the court went with that being the main kind of thing, so he was portrayed as the bad guy, which I think is wrong.
Yeah, that's a problem because there's like how do you say, there is sort of an image that that men are bad and the perpetrators in the relationships.
Yeah.
Like
it's often seen as that in court. I think it was that it's like it really silly because it's, I think the court said that if I remember correctly, that he had the physical potential of like self-defense and basically just throwing away the woman or like escaping that rape scenario, but he didn't. But that's where the psychological hurt comes in, because he has already been like basically grinded down already, like to not do any physical force, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part there, like. Yeah.
Like he feels that he's been small.
Made
small.
Yeah, or belittled, as they say. Yeah.
Pushed down.
Yeah, exactly.
Lost his force, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can recognize that from my own relationships. That sometimes happens that you end up in these sort of things. But not much. But I can see the dynamic there. You know, like as a man, you can be quite fearful of a woman if you're in a relationship, because there's certain dynamics going on there. You know, like and also the ultimate weapon for a man, of course, is physical violence, but you're not supposed to use that as against women.
Yeah.
But as against another man, you can do it, but
yeah,
it's off limits, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. For me, I realized more and more with age, I'm getting better and better of being like arguing instead of losing my temper, and keeping up with women whom I disagree with, and actually enjoying it. I mean, I get this bodily feeling, like my stomach cramping up, and I get a pulse, but still I can keep my head cool and just keep on debating and fighting with words rather. It gets heated. Like yeah. But I mean, for other, I can sympathize maybe with some men who are not that that very good at expressing themselves with words. It's because not all men are so good at that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then very quickly they will lose to a woman who is very good at talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or being talked down, or basically, yeah.
Yeah, and also this very specific way of fighting with words that many women do, like doesn't have so much logic always.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you say.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of projection going on, and like definitely reverse psychology sometimes, and like these cheap shots, you know.
yeah, and
Yeah.
stuff that mess with your head. You don't know what's up and down after a while.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
what's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point here? Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, in my case, when like fighting with women, for instance, like when I was younger in my family, I noticed that I could easily being talked down, you know, or ignored, almost, you know.
What do you mean by talk down? Would it be like? Could you give an example, maybe?
Let's see. If I had something to say that I felt was important to me, that was sometimes met with that it wasn't important for them, you know, and
Right.
and therefore it wasn't being listened to as much. What was usually a big deal became a really small deal, quite fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be like they wouldn't. Well, they listen to what you say, but then they don't appreciate it.
Yeah, or maybe disregard it as bullshit, or
Yeah.
like.
That, sure. Instead, they could have said, "Oh, that's interesting that you find this interesting, and
Yeah.
tell me more about this, maybe." Be more encouraging.
Yeah, encouraging, and like more, or even though they don't need to be like encouraging or something, but at least to respect my opinion of things.
Yeah, I can recognize this. I feel like sometimes I've been like ridiculed for my opinions.
Yeah,
That's what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like to
definitely.
say that's just
Yeah.
silly, stupid
Yeah,
things
yeah,
to say.
definitely.
Like,
Yeah, stupid, silly. I feel like as the only guy in the family, I kind of grew up feeling like, I didn't take much space. I was not being given as much space. I feel, and it's like the male. Oh, now we have something here, because holy crap! I realized that you were talking about that the male force being handled somewhat. When we
No,
were
not sure
talking
what
about,
you mean.
we
Say
were
more.
okay. We were talking about the male aspect being taken care of, so it doesn't run amok or going out of place. So when I was talking about like having the guys, the boys in class, like
Yeah,
such things, you
like
know.
you have to have a structure for boys.
Exactly.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that structure was being put on me when I was growing up, but all the time and used in a wrong way.
Right.
It's like when the female force has this kind of potential of structuring the male force somehow,
Yeah.
but if used wrongly, it can be misused to really disregard, or belittle, as you said, or ridicule even though it's like kind of an important thing that has with everyone to do. Like, let's say in my family, for instance, we had kind of big deal, you know, and I was talking about like everyone. This affects everyone. Like, it's everyone's problem.
Mm-hmm.
and then they disregard this. No, it's only your problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our problem. Like, and it's like really interesting how those things works, because I think that I realized that some of those structures was being misused or abused even.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it often is, I suppose. Like the female side holding back the male side somehow, or putting some sort of
Yeah.
structure around it, maybe.
Yeah. Because
it's also could be a good thing, like if you're in a nurturing relationship with a woman as a man, you could rest in that, I suppose. Like
yeah.
if it's done in a proper way.
Yeah. I think it's like if if it goes to a matriarchy or like a domineering female force, and that force is almost to the extent of being corrupted somehow, they can easily abuse that framework to, let's say, lock up the male energy or ridicule it somehow, or at least make it appear as stupid somehow.
Yeah.
Society-wise.
Right, and that's exactly what's going on right now, in my opinion. Like you can see in advertisements, in the social media, in the TV channels we have, men are very often portrayed like, well, in the best way, as sort of stupid and not in touch with the contemporary thinking. And in the worst case, all men are rapists, basically. So yeah. I think that a man who speak up in public against this sort of treatment, they are also, as you said, being sort of silenced or not taken seriously, or you're just kränkt, we say in Sweden, but what does it say in English? Like you're being, well, I can't find a good word, I suppose, but...
like the word you're looking for, like, oh, I feel so offended.
Offended, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. Men are easily offended, they say, and unrightly so, because they are privileged, so they shouldn't be offended by anything.
Yeah. So I can clearly see a pattern here with the media and society-wise today. Seeing this framework being misused and abused, and I've been thinking about that for years, back and forth. Like, what is it? What is the core here to why women are being portrayed in one way, or males being portrayed in one way? Of course, it's the answer here is to start feeding an unbalancing force of uncertainty, fear, because if a person is uncertain and fearful, they're much more easier to control in this regard. So let's say we have this mouthwash commercial, in Sweden, and if you don't buy this mouthwash, basically no one wants to kiss you. Almost. That's the feeling that's being sold.
Right.
So it's both for men and women feeling a bit uncertain, like both with breaths and everything like that. That little small thing that doesn't really matter much. That little thing is being added towards the physical body. For instance, like different clothing brand commercials, like males being portrayed as like hunks, and females being portrayed as these like almost super athletic, super photo models, basically, which also creates a bad loop of uncertainty between males and females.
Am I good enough as a man or as a woman?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So it's like I think both men and female today in society is being fed total bullshit, and the main protagonist and main antagonist here is basically what is going behind, like, first and foremost, like, what is going on behind the curtains here. Like, of course, the struggle is not, I feel, between men and women today,
Mm-hmm.
but it's being portrayed as it is, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So I think like both men get total shit tossed towards them, and I think females are having shit tossed towards them, you know. Instead of trying to understand each other, where is like, oh, okay, like I think the female aspect is being fed one aspect that feeds them to throw a lot of thrash on males.
Yeah.
And I think it's a kind of a perfect circle almost of that trash talk and conflict here that is being fed from media and many aspects of life. And I think that most people are not aware of it. Like, let's say a commercial brand, like their main goal is here to sell these products. You
We
know.
should talk about Gillette commercial.
Yeah. That's a perfect example of like
right?
yeah, that's a perfect example of a bad commercial, and it really feeds both fear and uncertainty in males, and
anger
yeah.
in males as well, because they're fed up to be preached to, like
Yeah,
treated like they're sort of stupid.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So and many women maybe thought it was good, and I don't know actually what women think about it so much, but there's been some writing in Swedish press about it, saying that it was good. It was showing the reality, and then some other people coming in saying that no, this is humiliating to men, and well, I agree with the later. Of course.
Yeah.
But, it was actually made by a sort of famous feminist director, and before she made this commercial for Gillette for men, she made a very positive commercial about women and how women can do it. You know, some women are uncomfortable with their bodies when they exercise because they feel they're a little bit too big or something like that. So that commercial she made first was to empower women to, you know, you're awesome, you can exercise and don't care what other people think, which is good. And then she made this Gillette commercial which just puts men down, you know. So it's so annoying, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, she could have easily made a positive Gillette commercial about viewing men in a positive light as well.
Yeah.
But she didn't.
No, of course. That's quite interesting, because like a person like that has first and foremost have had some really bad experiences with men
I
earlier,
suppose, yeah.
and wants to get back at men.
Yes, a revenge.
Yeah. That was
so-
actually a kind of a shortage of revenge move, I feel.
Yeah.
And it's not the smart option to go about when we need balance and positive encouragement here in society, rather than more conflict.
Yeah, she's just splitting groups.
It's
apart.
splitting even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, in her way, I think that it would be nice to go like with girl power and encourage women. Total right move, awesome.
Yeah.
But at least bring the balance back and like encourage male as well.
Yeah.
If you're going about directing those things, especially.
Sure, and if you're aware of looking at media with this sort of glasses on, you see it everywhere. I feel like this, and thing is, if you tell people something repeatedly over and over for many years, it's gonna turn out to be a truth for the population. So even if it's false,
Yeah, exactly.
which is dangerous.
Yeah. It's what's it called? It's, subjective and passive manipulation messages in commercials.
Yeah, you get it even though you're not aware of it. Always.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like the color red for a certain food chain,
Yeah.
for instance. Like red really promotes hunger, and really emphasize hunger, and develops hunger within a person.
Yeah.
A certain frequency of red can turn your, even though you're not as hungry, that frequency of red can make you, oh, let's have a snack.
Must be the McDonald's red, I suppose.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oops! Now we're gonna get some
Yeah,
sponsor money. Huh?
yeah.
That's what you were trying to avoid, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Never mind.
Bleep it out.
Beep. Yeah.
You must mean beep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Or we have to take down the whole video because of like copyright stuff or something.
We'll be sued by some company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think there's a total unbalance in society today between the female energy and male energy. So if we get to the more shamanic ways of seeing things, I feel like the whole aspect must come to a more circle of harmony and balance instead of this society-wise economical competition, the unbalance or trash talk between the sexes, you know. And of course, if someone hurts you, like from a like shamanic brother to another brother, like if hurt is put upon you, like I can understand that it's very easily that energy resides within you for quite some time. And if it's being repeatedly fed to you, as you said, as commercials and whatnot, it can easily turn out to be some sort of a grudge towards that other person, right? It doesn't have to be, maybe it doesn't have to do with sex whatsoever, you know. But it can be like if someone hurts you for quite some time and abuse you for quite some time, you know, I think that only feeds like grudges, hatred even after a while, you know. You certainly wouldn't like that person, right?
No.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a personal relationship or more like commercials in society, or
I just drew a parallel between
those two,
yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah,
like
I
floating. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It builds a grudge, I suppose. I think many men in society are frustrated with this. But they're not speaking up because they know it has a social cost. You know, if you say something, if you oppose yourself somehow to feminist ideas, you will have to pay a price. You would be a racist maybe, or you would be a sexist or whatever.
Yeah.
A rapist maybe.
Yeah. But I totally see the other side as well, because it's like the other side also like. Sees the feminist side of life or society as stupid, you know, or weird. So it's like the both poles are like fighting, trash talking each other, or trying to get on top of each other, you know, somehow in a race of nothingness. Nothing good will come out of that.
Well, there is the parties fighting is the feminists, which are both men and women, of course, and there are the other group, mostly, I think both men and women on both sides of this struggle to nothingness.
Yeah, exactly.
What's needed is sort of a dialogue where you listen to each other and not just stamp each other as being a racist or
exactly.
What you call a radical feminist.
Maybe. It's a projection basically from our own hurts.
Yeah.
It's being hurt or being treated unfairly for years can only show one thing, like irritation towards the other sex and like why have you treated us this way, you know?
Mm.
It's like the two sexes of the world is talking to each other, but right now what is portrayed in media, it's the wrong path to go. It's
Sure.
really something that creates even more hurt and uncertainties and fear from both sides.
And it's a pendulum, you know, because
Yeah.
women have been subjected to what you call the like in the 50s, 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
women were suppressed
Yeah.
by society and by a patriarchy, you
Yeah.
can say maybe.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then they struggled for their rights, and I would say today in Sweden that we are equal. Men and women are equal, basically.
Yeah. Well, more so than before.
Yeah, more so than before, and
Yeah.
for instance, the women are now soon to make more money than men, I think, because women are doing better in school than boys. The statistic on that, I love statistics.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you can argue that both men and women have problems in our society today, and I would say we are equal. We can vote. We have the right to vote. We have the right to education. We have the right to choose any profession.
Yeah.
And but I feel like because women have been so suppressed in the past, now they want to get back at men almost, like that's what this is about, sort of.
And that's my point here.
So the pendulum is
Yeah.
swinging on the other right side now. Now men are shit and women are good. But
Yeah.
Before women were just no use.
Yeah, exactly. So like in like the old ways, you like even today in some countries, you if you get a girl, you know, a girl is born, it's like basically we have to
shit.
we have to yeah, it's a bad case basically.
Yeah, we don't want to this.
Yeah,
girl.
exactly, which is sad in many
Yeah, it's
aspects.
very very sad.
But so this is my point here. It's like society-wise and how everything has turned out. If women is here for revenge and the pendulum is swinging, as you say, to the other side, for God's sake, please be smart about it, women, I would say. Because right now you're not making things better. You're definitely not making it a wise choice to give back what you have received from men in the earlier days.
Right.
Because if they do want to get above men and showing that they're smarter or wiser, perhaps earning more money, whatever it might be, I don't think it's the right path to give back with the same coin as they have received, because that actually is speaking and saying quite a lot that the boomerang will turn around again. And matters will come bite them in the ass.
Sure,
So,
they will have to suffer the consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of.
yeah, and actually the same consequences that men are suffering right now.
Sure. That's it's what goes around comes
Yeah.
around. But
Yeah. So it's quite interesting how it works out, because like now that we're in the shit fan basically, and the other side is throwing shit, fine. But what happened back there when it was like when women were treated unfairly, like what did the men do, like, and what does the woman do today? It's like almost they give back with each other with the same coin here. It's like the same thing repeating itself somehow. Hurts brings and feeds more hurt.
Yeah, it's a vicious circle, and the best thing to do, I suppose, is like you would tell you, like, if we could say that now we're equal and let's drop all this fighting, you know, amongst each other.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very hard for women right now to just say, fine, we reached a place where we are equal now.
Yeah.
More or less, and it's very hard for women to just give up this struggle, because I think in a sense they're afraid that if they do, that things will go back to the way they were before, like they would sort of be they would lose all that they're fought for.
Yeah.
Which I suppose isn't the case in Sweden.
No.
I think we could live as equals now and not regress to some bad place we were before.
Yeah.
But if we keep this up, you know, it will strengthen like Sverigedemokraterna and other parties who are actually they don't like women's rights so much because they wanna like mess with the abortion ideas, for instance. And these nationalist parties they just grow stronger by this sort of feminist attack on men, I think. So it's really a bad strategy to keep this up.
Yeah. I don't think it brings any good to either plate, both men and women, basically. Because if we, the best thing here would be like split the shit ocean, basically. Like, because right now we have an ocean of shit talk and like problems, conflict between, and just split it apart, like men, women, and just seeing for what it is, like, and just come down to like sort of balance and harmony and vent to each other. More likely, like, okay, I'm tired of this commercial. Yeah, I'm tired of this commercial bringing shit to this side. Yeah, I can understand that. Like, like we can understand each other's sides quite easily, I would say, both from abused perspective or media perspective, as you were talking about with the shitty commercials. Like, they're always shit. But the thing is, like, today, if women keep on the, as you would say, like rising, which I encourage today, like okay, like I would gladly take 2 steps back.
Sure, if it happens on like fair terms, like, okay, if you're a woman and you're smarter than me, of course you will get ahead of me. I don't mind that.
Yeah. To me personally, it doesn't matter if I don't think about in sexes, you know,
Right.
in that it's like a person, like if a person wants to. For me, like go grab something or achieve something in life, yeah, do that. But bring something good to the table, you know, because your path means more responsibility, more like influence over people, you know. And if that path is taken with a bad intention, a hurt past, and even more bad in the backpack, so to speak, and that woman rises to a very great influencing position, first and foremost, it's already corrupted from the start. It's a path of revenge, of getting back to, like, let's say, like, yeah, I will give back to all the, like, the guys that hurt me in the past. Now everyone will suffer. Mohaha. You know, the kind of Darth Vader or Darth Sidious Star Wars kind of bad story of a matriarchy, instead, like enslaving all the men.
Yeah. And,
whip the shit out of them. You know, they're not worth the shit. You know, whatever. You know, it's like, yeah, take every man to and just kill every man. You know, like, we can make it without them. You know. It's like start incubators instead, you know. Like,
keep some sperm banks.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
sperm banks and like total brutal Amazon life, you know, whatever. Like enslave men, capture them, use their sperm, and that's it. And, yeah.
Yeah, there could be some sort of workforce, maybe. Going around.
Yeah.
Crushing stones.
Yeah.
With a sledgehammer.
Yeah. Let's make a movie about that.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, super dark and shady, corrupted matriarchy, kind of order or something like that. Yeah.
But I think if a lot of women would rise to the top of corporations and banks and boards, sort of, they would, like we have now. Most men are in power and they will choose other men. They say, at least. I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, then if it's mostly women, they will choose other women. So
it's not. It's exactly. But reality is quite the opposite, because men choose a lot of women today.
Yeah, they do. I suppose they look after competence more than sex, right? Is it? Or is it more like they're forced to choose a woman?
They may be forced to use women because in a bad situation where like this woman uses a strategy for like getting onto men, let's say rise to power in a bad way, she would use her charm basically to gain that position, and then it's the men feels like, oh yeah, we have a great connection, you can take over, and then it's like muhaha.
But she has to be also very competent, right? She can't just.
You know, of course,
go
she has to
it's
be
both,
extremely smooth about it. You know, extremely smart and go behind the curtains. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you have let's say a company and you need a position to fill, then you have to have the right person at the right position, right? So you can't choose a woman just because she's pretty and sexy. You have to.
No,
She
exactly.
has to be competent in that field.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. But I think I fear that is a lot of the cases is that's what have happened.
That they're not competent. They're chosen for other reasons.
Yeah,
Alright,
or even competent, back and forth. I feel because like in some cases I've seen like people rise to power where they're not fit for that case at all, but they get that position, you know. And
how does that happen?
But what do they do? Like, yeah, maybe instead of going what people need, they go for their own will instead.
Their employer, you mean?
Yeah, or like let's say the chief staff, for instance, go with their own will. You know, it becomes this corrupted cycle instead, which is really bad. And I think it's really hard to identify what person is fit for different positions. You know, in life. I'm not sure what happens if the matriarchy arises, but it's one part.
Whatever that is, I have to say.
Yeah, but one thing, you know, one side of me is at ease, you know, like, yeah, let's give them more power, but I'm afraid of intentions, you know, since you already talked about, you know, the female aspect being shady or can.
It can be shady, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so that's the thing. So if that happens, you know, I am really glad if it comes from a position that's not corrupted or, you know, of revenge or greed, for instance.
Well, it comes more from wisdom and insight and
Yeah,
maturity,
exactly.
maybe.
Yeah, from the shamanic ways, I'm almost longing for like this earthly motherhood, or, you know, the more female wisdom, like earthly wisdom, you know, bring back both balance to nature, you know, resource wise, looking to the forest instead of the money.
Yeah.
You know,
but
there's good ways as well.
Sure. But when we talk about the matriarchy, that's a very interesting subject, I think.
Yeah.
Because people use it a lot, and they mean different things, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because you could mean one thing, which would be like you just replace the man with the women in all the positions.
Okay.
And that would be a matriarchy because the women now are in power instead of men, and we keep business going as usual. We just mess up the environment, and we, you know, are all in it for the money. So that would be one sort of matriarchy, and then you would have something like you said, where women. I mean, where the sort of focus for society is not to make so much money, but to care for nature and to nurture and to look after everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the two ways you can have a matriarchy.
Yeah. And personally, I vote for the intuitive females to rule.
Okay.
But the thing is, I would like to see a ruling with some sort of a nice harmony and balance between the male and female aspect.
You can just having the female aspect is
Yeah,
not good either. Right?
I'm not for a matriarchy, like perfect matriarchy or patriarchy whatsoever. I'm searching for that sort of harmony and balance in life where both can understand the different sides and where to use them, like effectively in different scenarios. Like, let's say we have a problem in society where one aspect is needed more, that the other aspect could back off and say like, yeah, we trust you to handle this, you know.
Sure, yeah. Like in primitive ways, you could say the men are better at hunting and women are better at gathering because of the
for
biology.
instance, let's say for instance, yeah. So it's like that sort of natural give and take and like understanding between male and female energies.
Yeah.
I think that is the optimal way of going on about things. But today, what we see in society, the governments and everything like that, it's too much competition. It's way too much unnecessary competition, where competition needs to be exchanged with cooperation and teamwork, more likely, and not fighting or debating unnecessarily between each other. More like, we have this problem, how can we solve it together? Like, it's like they compete for the best way, and they can only go so far between things before things fall apart. It's like soon enough one side gives up. It's like, oh, but that side was the best choice and they stepped out of it. Now we have these idiots trying to trying to solve the problem. It's like the ones that shout loudest.
Sure, that would be
somehow.
Like the sensors and intuitives, sort of. The intuitives, they can't keep up if they've been pushed out.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird.
But I also think that, like, I would agree that it would be nice with a matriarchy that's sort of nurturing and caring about nature, but does it necessarily have to be that women are that way, or is it more like it's a sort of a female energy, more like available both to men and women?
Yeah, patriarchy and matriarchy does not mean having female only per se. I think energy wise, I think both male and women can accelerate in that role.
Yeah, but just because we let's say that we leave all the power to the women and men step back.
Okay.
What would we naturally then have a matriarchy that would care for nature and be very nurturing? I don't think so.
No, of course not. Of course
so
not.
So how does it come about? You know, it's got to be some other way then, like, and that's I don't feel that feminists, when I discuss with them, that they have a good answer to this, because I feel many people, they haven't thought this through really. It's like we're feminists and we're gonna make the world good, but if you ask how, well, it's an open question, I think. Like, more power to women, but what good will that do? I mean, it will be a more fair situation, but will it be this sort of nurturing matriarchy? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's maybe a subject for next podcast.
Maybe not. I'm not sure. But the thing is, like, if you would have a matriarchy and patriarchy working together, from one side to another, like, politically, I'm not as fond of it, but I think that's only my personal side of things. But I think it's identifying. Would you say that we should, like, myers-briggs test every political opposition, or like back and forth, and see like their types, and then let's see what is the spot right now they have, and could we rearrange it to a more suitable working spot? Like,
Yeah, it's an interesting thought to give power to persons based on Myers-Briggs, like the philosophers should rule the society, basically, or
philosophy, yeah,
the
both male and female.
shamans,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, the shamanic, the shamans around the round table, or
yeah, and both men and female,
yeah, yeah,
men and women,
yeah,
you could say.
yeah. The shamanic sisters and brotherhood. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's the way to choose wise leaders. You get the leaders you deserve. So you
Yeah,
have to-
yeah. Both leaders from like personal, like long years of experience, close to nature, I would say. People and shamans, witches, or different sort of esoteric knowledge. I would really look forward to them coming forth more in political situations. Mostly today, I feel like every one of us steps back because we don't trust politics per se. We don't see it as something that solves anything because they're just sitting there nagging at each other.
yeah,
fighting.
and they get paid a lot of money and keeping their positions.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
keep power.
Yeah, and it's a power without any happenings.
They keep things going, but not in a good way.
Yeah, they have things under control.
Yeah, they
But,
have power and control. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I am totally missing the nature side of life, and to have a certain rights and laws being forced into society today, where like esoteric knowledge, shamans, witches, or different covens can or have more of a say, I would say. Let's say that our politicians have this opposition or have this sort of problem, and they're trying to solve it, and they come to us to ask for advice and wisdom, you know, and we could advise for it or against it and come up with different ideas on perhaps how to solve it or make it more effective or better for a larger scale, you know. I think that would be interesting. Yeah.
And many things are global issues as well in our today.
Yeah.
World of today. So
Yeah.
maybe a world council is needed.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the UN and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we have those things, but it's not. Their focus is not. Okay, we have environmentalists in politics today in Sweden, and we have the green sides, but intuitively, I feel like they're not connected to the forest per se, or shamanic ways, or let's say the more esoteric ways of knowledge.
No, they're very materialistic.
Exactly.
Even the environmental movement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I would advise people and inspire people and motivate people that listen to this that dare to grow out of the shell and like take up the challenge to maybe create some sort of more intuitive direction in those aspects, and the goal here is not to dominate or steer the boat totally, but do what we do best to advise from the side of things, and inspire and motivate and give possible options or warnings even. Like if people see, let's say, women and male seers, you know, can look more into the future, what the consequences of that will be, and advise for it or against it.
Yeah, and there is some theory also like it's psychedelics would help the world to change, and I truly believe that. And like if all the politicians, it was mandatory for them to have a really powerful trip before coming to power, I think we would have a very, very good society probably.
Yeah.
Like you lose a lot of your ego and you see the bigger picture, like
Yeah.
both with humans and the rest of nature.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not like joking about this, because I'm dead serious about this, because I think
Sure,
that would really help a lot, and not like having these male and females laughing around a round table with mushroom hats. You know? It's like
No, it's a serious business. Like it's not a party thing. It's a source of wisdom and
exactly.
insight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, I think like the more materialistic side and or like side of life, like society would definitely see us as mushroom capped with mushroom hats or something,
Yeah.
instead of folie hat,
Yeah.
mushroom hat. Yeah.
It's the new you put down word. Your mushroom hat.
Yeah. That's just a mushroom hat kind of idea. Don't
Yeah.
listen to him. You know, I can already see it coming, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, but I think that would bring a lot of good to the table as well. More mushroom hat ideas. But yeah.
Yeah, it's an exciting time, and I think it's going to be legalized in the US, and it will set the tone for Sweden and Europe as well, and the rest of the world. These
Yeah.
substances.
Yeah, because what happens in US inspire Sweden.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. Well, I think that's about it. Is what you say?
Yeah, today I think we touched a lot of stuff today.
Yes.
So thank you, listeners, I would say, and
Thank you.
see you next time. And we will try, by the way, to get these things rolling more frequently. We promised each other to try and get on about this more frequently, talk about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, having it more intuitively speaking.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for today, folks, and see you around.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.